So the position I looked at was teen services librarian. And these are the two librarians that I interviewed, Jess Moore from Crozet and Jennifer Duval from Richmond Public Library. Other names that you can find teen services librarians under are teen librarians, youth service, and youth and family services. Some of the job duties are very specific to YA, and teen librarianship, where others are very general to librarianship in general. Some of the ones that are more specific are maintaining the YA collection, outreach to schools and communities, building relationships to offer those programs and outreach, and promoting the library services. The information about the two libraries: Richmond Public Library, main branch is the one downtown Richmond. It's a multi-story building. Crozet Library is a small rural library outside of Charlottesville. And some of the questions that I asked the librarians were about how they offer programming. And both of them talked about talking to the teens and looking at the trends and the resources they have available to them. Most successful program, both of them talked about their teen advisory groups and that they felt that that really was their most successful. The lady from Richmond Public Libraries talked about how she measures success is not in numbers, but in prolonged and quality engagement with her teens. Both of them talked about how social media was very successful for them marketing. They also talked about email lists and listservs. Also, Jennifer from Richmond Public Library talked about her own listserv that she's curated over the years. Both of them have a good amount of say into collection development. They put together lists, turn it into the collection development department, and pretty much get what they ask for. Day-to-day duties that are associated are fairly similar, but the Jess from Crozet Library talked about doing a lot more of the day-to-day running of the library and those other duties as assigned. Whereas Jennifer from Richmond Public Library talked more about specifically her position as youth services. Duties that they did not expect. Jess talked about having to work with adults with tech tutorials. Jennifer talked about how social work and counseling was part of her job that she really did not expect. The best part of their job, Jennifer talked about how programming, she has a love-hate relationship with it. She's an introvert, but really loves the energy of the program and the love that the people walk away with. Jess from Crozet Library really went back to Reganathan's law about every person has a book, or every reader has a book, and every book has a reader. So I kind of liked that. The part of their job they would change, Jennifer talked about the lack of a teen space and the fact that she would love to have one that is warm and welcoming for her teens, whereas Jess talked about library fines and wanting to eliminate those. Of course, the jobs have changed a lot throughout the pandemic. The fact that virtual programming has happened. Jess talked a lot about how she also is doing more circulation work. Why did they enter the field as a youth services librarian? Jennifer talked about how she was an ECSE for 9 years. Her mom was a librarian, but she wanted to transition to older children. And Jess talked about how she really wasn't for sure what age level she wanted, but she really did enjoy working with the teens. One piece of advice, they both talked about being flexible. And Jess talked more about being a people person and the customer service, whereas Jennifer talked about being the collaboration that you need to have in a library. Some of the things that people say about youth services librarians that I found on the internet was how, Yalsa talked about what does a YA librarian do? And the fact that we help teens prepare for college and life with our programming and those 21st century skills. The blog, A Day in the Life, the Teen Librarian, the fact that there is a lot of emotional and psychological work that we do, and how it really is challenging more so than it looks because of this. Yalsa, some of the characteristics of a successful YA librarian, talked about creativity and enthusiasm for the age group and being passionate about helping teens gain those skills and to develop themselves. Let me move my picture here. Essential skills for young services librarians: being enthusiastic, embracing your inner child and your inner teen, becoming familiar with those books. That way you can do the reader's advisory a lot more comfortably, and being comfortable doing reader's advisory, being able to work and relate with not only the children and teens, but their parents as well. And of course, networking and flexibility are key, as well as self-care. I find that's something that we really tend to forget. So I looked at several job posting places, and the BLA job list was the one that I found had the best selection. Here are 3 different job posting I found. One was the city of Lynchburg, was looking for a youth services librarian. Another one was Central Rappahannock Regional Library in Fredericksburg, was looking for one for both the Howell branch and the Fredericksburg branch. And the Fredericksburg branch is their main branch. And that is the one job posting I actually did my cover letter for. And Newport News is looking for a youth services librarian. So those were the 3 job postings that I used to help tailor the questions that I used, as well as my cover letter. Here are my references, 2 slides worth. So I hope you have enjoyed my delve into teen librarianship, and I look forward to your questions in the comments.